Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today. I hope you are all doing fantastic. Now we're going to be talking about The Outer Worlds and Bethesda in today's video. I imagine at first glance you can take a look at this title and go, yeah, that's kind of reactionary because of Bethesda's recent decisions, such as launching a subscription service for Fallout 76 that is incredibly overpriced. But for those of you who have been around the channel for I'd say a decent amount of time, might remember back in December of 2018 when I launched a video called The Outer Worlds is what I was hoping Starfield would look like. And the title sort of speaks for itself because the video was about how when I saw The Outer Worlds for the first time, it was what I had imagined Starfield would be in my head, and a lot of people did resonate with that. So the writing's been on the wall for a while that there's been anticipation for this game, and that Bethesda over time has had a lot of self-inflicted wounds as they've strayed off the path, and we've seen many developers step in between, we'll say 2015 and 2019, where we had plenty of RPG-like experiences attempting to fill a void left by Bethesda Game Studios, such as Greedfall, Vampire, Thronebreaker, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and so on. I really feel like this downward spiral began very slowly back in 2015, where we had two major RPGs dropping that year, one being The Witcher 3 and one being Fallout 4. Now the hype for Fallout 4 was absolutely incredible. It was a very fun time, and I think that sort of smothered at first a lot of the initial criticism for the game, because when The Witcher 3 came out, it was very widely celebrated. It was an excellent game. I was a huge fan of it. I'm still a huge fan of it. However, I think a lot of people were still holding their breath that at the end of the year, Fallout 4 would continue to elevate the RPG genre, but in fact, it did the opposite, bringing us a lackluster conversation system, not many diverging choices in the main story that felt significant at least. And so in turn, CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3, which already deserved a lot of praise, received even more to tell Bethesda that, hey, you know what, we want more of this from you. Obviously, the excitement really ramped up when we knew that Bethesda was going to be announcing another Fallout game in 2018, but as reports started to roll out, this would be an online survival RPG. It wouldn't really be like the traditional Fallout experience, and I remember watching personally my numbers for the videos were going up, because everyone's like, oh my god, new Fallout, Bethesda's going to take another crack at it, they're going to get Fallout 5 right, they're going to take inspiration from other RPGs, that they're going to respond in the right way. And as soon as rumors hit that it was going to be an online game, I remember watching mine and so many other creators' numbers just drop, because everyone was like, nope, not interested. A lot of us asked for maybe a co-op option in a Fallout game, but I think most of us would have taken a Fallout 5 in a single player world where you can invite a friend or two in. Anyway, a lot of this story carries on into Fallout 76's release. If you guys do recall, Fallout 76 had an incredibly buggy launch, but just a month afterwards, The Outer Worlds was announced at the Game Awards 2018. And once again, it was that perfect marriage of Bethesda straying so far off the path of what we had wanted from them and what we had expected from them versus Obsidian doing what we had been looking for from Bethesda. And this is no disrespect to Obsidian. They have earned their love and praise, especially with the release of The Outer Worlds. It is a fantastic game. I still stand by that. I'd say I'm well past the honeymoon phase because I've had this game since before most people, like literally a week ahead of its launch. I was playing the game and I beat it and I continued playing it and I'm still playing it. Like, it's a very good game. And so Obsidian had earned their praise, but point being is that there was that same exact marriage a year later when The Outer Worlds had released, and then we had the Fallout First announcement. These last two examples are perfect symbols of how tone deaf Bethesda has become, where they refuse to listen to what fans want from them as a company. We have to remember that before 2014, Bethesda rarely published good games. This was before the days of Machine Games and Tango Gameworks alongside Arcane Studios. Their identity was Bethesda Game Studios, with the rare, very rare good published game inside there. I mean, they published Rogue Warrior, for God's sakes. That game is terrible. Their pedigree is the RPGs that this company built, such as Oblivion, Fallout 3, Morrowind, Skyrim. This company created some of the most timeless RPGs out there, and their regression has led to consumers going elsewhere to fill the void that Bethesda is leaving. And what's sad is Bethesda's not tackling their new ideas was as much success as they did, for example, way back when we saw what the original Fallout 1 and 2 were. And then when Bethesda got hold of the license and they transferred it into a first-person open-world RPG, they were very successful at that. That was a new, risky idea to transform an entire series, and I'd say they did it well, starting off with Fallout 3, and New Vegas carried the torch absolutely fantastically, as we all know. So we could sit here and all day talk about how Starfield is supposed to be this return to form for Bethesda, because we do know it's going to be a single-player RPG. It's apparently not going to include online elements, though I don't know how much we can trust Bethesda's word at this point. But instantly, with these choices that we've seen from Bethesda, where they're very tone-deaf, they very much have their head in the sand, and recent happenings at the company, such as long-standing employees leaving, like Ikumi Nakamura or Tim Willits, who worked at id, which was partnered with Bethesda for 20 years, 20 plus years. That is an insane amount of time, and for them to leave right around this time where a lot of turmoil is happening with that company, everything gets thrown into doubt across the board, whether it's Arcane, Tango, Machine Games, Bethesda Game Studios. Everything has to be in doubt just because Bethesda has shown an inability to learn. And look, maybe between Fallout 76 and now, we can argue that there wasn't enough time for Bethesda to rework a plan and respond properly. Because in one sense, it felt like they were listening because Wastelanders was a thing, but then Wastelanders got delayed, which is okay. Games don't get worse when they get delayed, but then we saw Fallout First take its place. Very weird. However, there's been plenty of time since Fallout 4 to identify and make the right response. I don't care about concepting, pre-production. When Fallout 4 came out, the criticism immediately in the first 2 months was loud and clear. This is a good game, not a good Fallout game. That's sort of been the tagline that followed Fallout 4, and I still stand by the fact that I enjoy that game a lot. I replayed it this year for a stream series called Road to Platinum, where I go for the Platinum Trophy, and I very much enjoy my time going back into Fallout 4, but the flaws are apparent right off the rip. The dialogue isn't that good, the writing isn't that good, the story isn't that good, you don't sympathize for the synth as much, and Bethesda really reprimanded a lot of that when they went into Far Harbor, their biggest expansion for Fallout 4, and I really appreciated that, but we just didn't see them do anything like that afterwards. There's a strange inconsistency within this developer. I was one of the first people to say it's good that Bethesda Game Studios had expanded because their games would come out quicker, and I also imagined at the time that their identity would remain, but I'm starting to take my words back. I almost wish they didn't expand, because what happened is they lost their identity. They're doing so many different things now. They've pushed a mobile initiative. They're releasing online RPGs. Who knows what's going to happen with Starfield? And so ultimately what this discussion brings me to is that the Outer Worlds should wake Bethesda up. They should look at what's happening, not out of spite, right? It's not, no one's buying the Outer Worlds to spite Fallout 76. People are buying the Outer Worlds because it's a very good video game that people have wanted for a while based off what it is. It is a traditional role-playing game in a first-person perspective in a freaking cool universe with great writing and great choices. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's 30 to 40 hours depending on how you play. It could be even shorter than that if you want. It is ideally what many people have been looking forward to for many years. It is an instant hit. It could arguably become a classic, and that is something Bethesda needs to take a serious look at. A serious look at and go, all right, we need to take a step back and try to rework to do something like this, because they have the IP. You got Fallout and Elder Scrolls, some of the best first-person role-playing games ever, which is why I think people get so frustrated with Bethesda. A lot of people have told myself and others we get hard on Bethesda, but it's because they own some really great properties that have an excellent identity and a good core to their gameplay, and their worlds are super interesting, and Bethesda's just mismanaging them. Despite Elder Scrolls Online being a great game in my opinion, Bethesda has spun off the Elder Scrolls in 1,000,001 ways. Fallout has now been mistreated 2 entries in a row. That's where the frustration boils. So I hope Bethesda comes up for air, actually looks around them, stops making choices with their head down, and really takes a look at their competition. Because if you're going to be releasing Starfield, you need to know what your competitors are doing. I get the confidence because you created, like I said, Fallout 3, Oblivion, Skyrim, but that was back then. This is now. As far as I'm concerned, Bethesda Game Studios really hasn't released a great game, mind you, like amazing game since Skyrim. Fallout 4 was a good game. And I know that's quite the change of pace from Mr. Near Perfect, I know, but ultimately when we're being critical about it, it's been a very long time since Bethesda Game Studios has dropped a superb title that gave me that feeling the Outer Worlds did, like instantly fell in love type of feeling. And Bethesda Game Studios used to be a sure shot for that type of stuff with me. So ultimately, Bethesda, I hope maybe you're listening, and I hope you do take a good look at the competition around you. So that'll do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about Bethesda currently? Do you think, just leave them be? Let them go on their own path? Or should the Outer Worlds actually be the wake-up call they need? Let me know. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.